earlier. Like you could have got that.
I can tell my story again, but it wouldn't line up with the light lighting up. But yeah, it was just weird. So I looked up like, you know, white birds and kind of their spiritual meaning and stuff like that. And it was just really, it was just an odd thing. I don't know. And normally my dogs would run them off and they didn't, which I thought was really interesting.
That is interesting.
I'm trying to find my camera stuff and see if I can fix it, but I don't see it.
So did your I probably shouldn't say this on the recording. Never mind.
Okay. I know where that was going. No, we can, yeah.
Time to be serious. So yeah, I'm glad. Like when you look at that later, you're probably gonna giggle at that part in particular where it pauses.
Yeah, like, oh, I know what that was.
You're like, I should text her.
That's so funny.
So yeah, what's even funnier is that he's like fascinated with what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So he nerds over my videos all the time, and he's coming over this evening before my live where I'm doing horror readings tonight. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
can I be there in person and watch? I'm like, I mean, I don't care. Not gonna bother me as long as you're not loud, you know. Like, I don't give a shit.
Right.
So that'll
That's
be
awesome.
That'll be interesting.
It's cool because most men have a hard time believing in this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, he's all about it. He even told me that his favorite show is Vikings.
Yeah.
And that he was like, I swore if I ever found a girl like that Lagatha that I'd be in heaven. And he was like, and then I saw your videos. I was like,
there she is.
I just sent back, you're welcome.
Yep, exactly. You're welcome.
Yeah, I just sent back, you're welcome. All right, so let me take a picture of this. Okay. So I'm going to send this to you. Wow, that was weird. Like I went to pull my phone up and it started to spin like it was upside down. I'm like, no, like no. I don't know what you're doing right now. That was really weird.
It's whatever was here went through the computer. Now it's over there messing with you.
Yeah, that was just crazy. What are you doing right now? Fucking stop it. I don't have time for your bullshit. I'm going to go ahead and say no. You just, yeah. Okay. So I sent you that. So I don't know if you have your phone there where you can look at it, or, I mean, it's, I don't know why. Usually I don't tell people. I'm just like, hey, you can look at it later. But so this one is like really, really hardcore affecting you right now.
Yeah. Let's hear it, because I'm having a hell of a time right now.
This one is all, it's like a double-edged sword in a way, where on one side there's a whole ton of like guilt and putting yourself last and being lost and being the savior of everybody else, and then and being just miserable and not having what you need. And on the other side, it's trying to make a clean cut and move out of that. Like, it's crazy, and move down a very spiritual path to get away from all of that.
Is that like a more recent?
That's what I'm looking at. It just hit me. I was like, holy shit. Like, this one is just, God. I think that's why I was like, I'm sending you this so you can look at it, so you can kind of see some of the cards I'm seeing. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Yeah, it just came through too.
So this one, you were born a woman.
Okay. Oh, wow.
See all that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this one back in the probably mid to late 1400s. Oh, now you're green. Okay.
I got nothing. There, I have no idea. And this computer's like brand new. So
I looked up, I was like, okay, you're green.
I'm green now.
So I'm like 1470s is where I would put this one at date wise. It's kind of hard to see where you're born, where you originate from. Because all I see are ships.
Interesting.
So it's like here's what I see when I look at this one. It's like so much frustration right at from the time you're born until you're really about 3 or 4. It's just continual movement and not ever being with parents. It's like being with groups of people, but not having a specific, like, this is my mom, this is my dad. But at the same time, not, it's almost like maybe you were taken or you were given to some, like, I can't tell. That's what I'm like, it's kind of irritating because it's just movement and the majority of it is on ships.
Interesting. In the 1470s.
So, and these are humongous, they're humongous wooden ships, and the wood is all like I can even smell it. It's so weird. You can smell like that salty wood, moldy smell. They're all like that really dark, they're really dark gray wood. So I would say ash or something like that, but they're super dark gray.
Like
so I would probably,
ships? Like pirate ships, kind of that
no,
size?
I would probably, they really feel very Norse to me.
Norse. And that's really interesting.
But I don't think you are that. So
right.
I don't know if they found you, if they took you, if I don't know, because you are smaller because okay. So what happens when I do these is when I lay out all the cards and I kind of take a deep breath and I get my download, and then that's kind of like a 5-10 second thing. And then I have to go back through and unpack it. And so sometimes I see very, very vivid things. Sometimes I just see things that glow and I have to pull them out and tell you guys what it is. Mm-hmm. That's the only way I can explain it. But I see everything about that life in like 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. So I have to unpack it. So that's what I'm trying to unpack, is that it's, so you kind of grow up always knowing you're less than. You're not one of them. You're less than. So that's why I said, even though they feel very Norse, the ships, the feel, the everything around you, you aren't. You're much smaller. But in being not one of them, like you're treated pretty badly. You're treated very badly. Slave type in a way. And made to feel that that's how it is. I mean, because you grew up that way. You grew up in it. So it's normal. So you're the one that takes care of everybody else. You're the one that is the go get this, go get this, go get this. Like you're always doing that. You don't have anything of your own. You don't have a room. I mean, you have like clothes, but not, like a set of clothes, 2 sets of clothes. That's it. So you just don't have anything. And you're made to always be under someone else's power, period. Like that's it. And even as you get older, to teens, mid-teens, everything is decided. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. And even though you're with this one family and you're technically a slave, they still almost treat you like part of the family too. Like it's really weird. So when you get about 16, 17, they're arguing over the lady and the man are arguing over if they keep you here, they marry you off, they halfway marry you to one of their sons. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're arguing over what to do at that point, because even though you're not technically one of them, you are, because they raised you. So they're trying to figure out what to do. And they take you to one of the elders there who says that since you're not their blood, the clan's blood, that you could be married off to one of their sons, but as like a secondary wife, basically. So like, even though you would get married and be married to them and they own you, basically, they can still get married and have a family over here. So it's like you're always second.
Gotcha.
And what sucks is you just have to kind of go along with it because you didn't know any better, and B, you were terrified.
Interesting.
So now the question becomes which son, because they have 3. And the older 2 are absolutely terrible people. The younger one, you're very close in age, so you guys have always gotten along. Everything's all, you've been friends, but they end up marrying you to the oldest one, who just absolutely treats you horribly.
Of course. Like
he has no problem actually beating the shit out of you, actually doing bad, horrible shit to you.
Lovely. I've often wondered if I had some of that in my past.
Like it's bad. It's bad. He would beat you just enough that it wouldn't make it to where you couldn't work, but you would still be sore as fuck. You know what I mean? Like black eyes and broken noses and broken fingers and stuff, but you could still do everything he told you to do, basically.
Right.
Here's where the good part comes in. You don't ever get pregnant by this guy.
Oh, thank God.
And you guys have been married about 2 years. And of course, he's fucking everybody else. He's doing whatever. And he goes off somewhere and does not ever come back. He's killed somewhere else. So when everybody else comes back, well, not everybody else, but other people come back without him, say what's going on. In getting married to him, you basically become a full member of that clan, because you were realized as a member to be able to marry him, even though you were a little less than. It still made you a full member.
Interesting.
So now you have all his shit, and you suddenly have some power, and it doesn't sit right with his dad, your dad. I mean, it is so weird. But at the same time, it empowers you in a place that you've never been. Because some of the other women there, even though they were born in that community, they were treated pretty close the same way you were. So in seeing you suddenly, and even though you look different, you're smaller, like you're a very, very beautiful woman. So now that you're kind of a full member, other guys could marry you instead of you being married off whatever.
Right.
So you kind of take your pick a little bit of a couple of them and choose one that has more shit, and you're very careful. You're very cunning in how you choose. You choose one that has a lot of shit, but at the same time that kind of has the hots for you, and you can manipulate him slightly. So you're able to manipulate the things that you want, but yet he doesn't ever do to you what this other one did. So, and in fact, either the night you get married or the night after you get married, he does something, and he's not mad, but he does something playful, raising his arm up, and you immediately cower like that. And he kind of flips out a little bit and like gets upset. And he's like, because he's like, I'm so sorry. What, I didn't mean to, I wasn't going to hit you. I didn't mean to scare you, whatever. and then asks about it, and you kind of tell him everything with that, and it pisses him off to no end. So even though the first part of your life is not good, it's horrible. The second part turns out amazing, because you end up having 2 children with this guy, and he treats you absolutely like a queen. He ends up rising up to become one of the elders and then the head. And so, I mean, you end up going literally from that slave to the top of the pinnacle there.
That's awesome. So I wasn't Norse, but I married into.
You were raised that way. I mean, that's what I'm wondering, like, if they found you somewhere, or they took you, or they had a slave on the ship that had, you know what I mean? Like, something happened because you were on the ship. Like, that's the first thing I see. So I'm almost wondering if maybe they didn't take a woman and she had you on the ship, and you know, but then of course I'm like, well, they could have just thrown you overboard too. You know, they didn't have to keep you. So it's weird that they did, but yeah, they kept you. And
maybe I was a cute baby.
but yeah, I mean,
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. It's very interesting. So, like, and what's funny is, even though the beginning of it was so horrible and you had all that shit happen, I mean, it turned out great. It turned out wonderful in the end. And it did end up, some of the damage that he caused you did end up being something that caused you to pass away earlier instead of living, you know, a little bit longer. Just, okay, I was like, what the hell? Why am I beeping? God, I'm like, I don't even have an appointment for 30 minutes, you fucker. Like, shit. But it's like on my phone, and here I'm like, damn.
It doesn't want you to forget. Don't forget.
Well, no, it's so I won't go over, but I will anyway.
Oh, that too.
Pretty much always do.
You can't help how long it takes or how big of a message comes through.
Well, and for the most part, most people are like, no, I get it. They'd rather me take the time with somebody else because they know that means I'm going to take the time with them too.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. Oh, well, that's a horrible picture. You get my really bright, shiny white leg down there.
That's all right.
And Cookie. Are you leaving for work, baby? You should see my son and this fucking dog, I swear to God.
Best friends.
This dog is just fucking. He was my dog, but he just took a liking to Brody. I'm like, nope, he's your dog. So, yeah, he flat is. Come here and show Brianna that. You gotta see this fucking dog, dude. He's half weenie dog and half Chinese crested. So he usually asks people if they want to see his naked weenie.
Oh my goodness. He's cute. Look at him. Oh my gosh. He's cute.
This is April's, well, your stepdaughter, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I almost smashed my fingers. Pretty good right there. Well, what? Come on. Okay. All right. So just let me know when you throw that in there. Okay. Love you. Oh. Okay. Oh, he'll be back.
I'll join you now.
Well, he freaks out when Brody leaves.
Oh.
And he'll sit at the door and cry and whimper. So like when Brody went to college, he would stand on the back of the couch and look out the window, and he would go, for hours. And he would actually cry big old tears. And I'm like, dude, like, that's my baby leaving for college. Like, you can't.
Like, why are you crying?
That's his boy, huh? That's your boy, isn't it?
That's so cute.
Oh. Okay. Now I'm gonna let you down. Yeah. You can lay over here. All right. So sent you the second picture there.
Okay.
This one's much better. Let's just say that.
That's good.
Hey, you don't need to be in the trash. Oh no.
Oh yes, that looks.
This one's affecting you too, though, in a way, because there were a couple things that you didn't learn here. So even though this one was far better than that last one, okay, I see. Because I'm like, why is this? It's so contradictory in some areas. Okay. You were born a man here, but you should have been born a woman in this one.
Awesome.
I mean, it didn't affect you like you, it didn't make you like gay or anything like that. It's just you always felt wrong. And so here's why this is affecting you so bad right now. This one's affecting you so bad right now because you need to be on a much different spiritual path, and you need to be realizing that you have some amazing talents and gifts and you need to be sharing them, but you're kind of afraid to step out there. In this life here, you should have been a priestess, but you were born a man. So you got to go fight in the war, in armies, things like that. You got to go be a warrior.
Lovely.
So somebody fucked up somewhere.
So should have been a woman, was a man, but I had spiritual gifts and should have been a high priestess. Interesting.
Yeah. You should have been a high priestess. What's funny is there's a lot of fucking Egyptian shit here. In fact, your main card is Isis. The second one is Osiris, who is her husband.
I saw those. I wondered. Any guess on year?
I don't know that I would put this one exactly in Egypt, but it's somewhere in that area. No, I feel like it's probably Egypt. Because as soon as I said that, I was like, no. But this is up on the Mediterranean, like it's up right on the coast. So you always felt like you were on the wrong path in this life. Always. What sucks is that you had good parents. You had a good family. You had a good upbringing for the time because your family was kind of middle class, I guess. And you're the second. You have an older brother. And then you have a sister, a younger sister. So you don't have a bad childhood.
That's good.
I would put this, by the way, this one's pretty far back. I would say in the 1200s or before, late 1100s. But you just always felt wrong. You just always felt wrong. And what's funny is I don't even think that, so your dad's not involved in anything militarily. He's some kind of craftsman. Something here. So I'm thinking it's probably clothes or mantle. You know what I mean? It's something like that. Because it's something it's ornate, but it's also, it's chest wise, protective wise, but not armor.
Gotcha. Your
brother follows in that footsteps. Your sister gets married. You know what I mean? Like, And you could have easily followed that footsteps and done it as well, but something happens and they call for, you know, men to fight stuff. And you thought, okay, well, I'll go do that because I don't feel like I belong here. Like you were trying to find where you belonged. Yeah, somebody done messed up when you were born, because you should have been a woman and you should have been a high priestess. You were always really, really connected in this life. I'm starting to think that this life was out of order, because even in the 1200s, there wouldn't have been what you needed to learn. Like you needed to be in a temple back before Christ to learn these rituals and stuff like that. That's what you were supposed to learn. So you didn't get some of the foundations that you needed. You didn't get some of the blueprints that you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And now with this mass spiritual awakening going on, you actually would be able to get them to learn them and more. So that's why this one's affecting you right now, really, really deeply spiritually.
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's literally what I'm struggling with, part of it.
So you need to let go of your need to control what you're learning.
Okay.
Because the universe put you here right now. You've been through what you've been through, so you can be in this exact spot to start learning and going forward. Because if you had gotten married, he had been a great husband, nothing had ever happened, you wouldn't be where you are right now. Right. You had never gotten married, you wouldn't be where you are right now. You wouldn't have had all of that
experience,
fucky shit.
Yeah.
That shoved you forward, because that's a lot. That's a lot for someone your age.
A lot.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a tremendous amount.
I've lived the life most people don't even get to live. Like from marriage, baby, and then you lose your, like most people don't lose their spouse. They die first. So like I have to remind myself of that a lot.
Mm-hmm. So you've gone through all of the things you've gone through, because it's kind of like a fast forward to get you to where you can learn the stuff you needed to learn in this, that you missed in this life.
Interesting.
Because if you had still just been oblivious, like a lot of people out there, you'd be missing out on all the spiritual energy that's going on now.
Yeah. 100%.
You'd be oblivious to it.
100%. It's interesting. It's interesting how both of those lives, like listening to you talk about them and stuff, how I can think back of when I felt certain things or thought certain things and how they relate to this, like things I thought when I was a child or as a teenager, and how, I don't know, some of the stuff you said just like really resonated, like, oh, well, that makes sense that, you know, XYZ or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
Well, here's what's even more interesting. This one's going to be hard to explain, but what's more interesting is the very first card here is Norse and the second card is Egyptian.
Okay. So that might be what I need to start looking at then, maybe? Egyptian slash.
I would say Egyptian first. Okay. Because that's what you should have been.
Okay.
Go on there. Wait, what? Oh yeah, that is right. Okay. Oh, okay. I was like, why is there only 2 pictures? Because I just took this would be number 3. I forgot the second one I took in the email app and it's terrible. And I was like, fuck that. So yeah, the very first one is literally Norse.
Interesting.
And the fucking second one is Anubis. So I'm like, all right. Okay. So I'm gonna draw one more card over here. Now I gotta send you these 2 cards. Okay. Dude, just fucking raw. There we go. Okay.
It's allergy season here, and I do not know what's in the air, but I thought we were getting away from allergies leaving Oklahoma, and that's still
not so much. April just messaged me and said, make sure that my daughter tells you about the birds.
I know, now I got to tell her about my camera.
Yeah, and you kind of have the proof on here, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So I sent you one picture that's a layout, and then I had to draw a couple of clarification cards. So that's the second picture of just the two cards there.
Okay.
So what's the, okay. This one's not here. This one's going to take a little bit to explain, and it's going to be a little interesting to try to explain because I don't even understand some of it.
Oh, good.
So let's just say the basis of this is that this again is a lot of spiritual stuff. It's also a lot of transformation and ritual and learning and spirituality. And so one thing that always sucks about trying to explain one that's not here is that it's hard to pinpoint time, and it's hard to pinpoint because this one's one of those that, while it feels very, very far ahead in the future, it's also way the fuck back there.
Okay.
So it's hard to say. Like,
so by not here, do you mean not on Earth? Like in physical human form? Okay.
Yeah. That's why I had to draw those other two cards.
Okay.
Because when I started seeing all this, was like, okay, not the person. Okay. Do you ever have dreams about light people, like people made of light they're usually a light color?
So I don't remember my dreams. I had night terrors to the point, like if I don't take sleeping medicine, I will scream, kick, fight, punch, hit, and like it takes forever to wake me up. I'll wake up bawling, but I never remember them. I've never remembered them, but I just couldn't sleep. And so I've just always been on some kind of antidepressant or whatever that helps get rid of the night terrors, which then I don't remember my dreams.
Okay.
So I haven't remembered dreams since I was probably 13 or 14.
Okay. Okay. I mean, some of that could be explained by those first two lines.
Yeah.
So this one, even though it's ahead, it's also the reason you came to Earth in the first place.
Okay.
There's not really a gender to this. I would say probably more what we think of as feminine, but there's not really a gender to it. Okay. There is no gender. It's just you're a little more, and the only way what I'm hearing is soft than the others. Okay. Because you had a specific role to play. And the only way to explain this role is that it's healing on a massive scale. Not quite what we would think of as a priestess, but almost. Not what we would think of as a traveler, but it is. Like it's just, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Sometimes I hate these, like it kind of kills me a little bit. So it's almost like being a pope.
Okay.
That heals people on a mass scale.
Okay.
But people they're not allowed to talk to you. They're not allowed, like it's very, very isolated. It's very isolated. Like you're kept very isolated. So I have a feeling that certain ones of you are born this way. There's no mark or anything because the people around you are all light beings, but they're semi-humanoid shaped, but they're light and they're light colors. That's why I asked about that. But there's not a traditional family hierarchy here. You just are. You're just born. You just are. And the air quotes people
Right.
are all born into a position. It's almost like being born and then just sorted by a machine. Like it's cold, but at the same time, you already know, here's your path. There's your path.
Interesting.
So one in about every 5 million are born like this. So you're extremely revered, but you have to be kept completely isolated from the others, because the healing that you do on a massive scale, and I mean, this is literally standing out on this big stone platform over just beings as far as you can see and healing them. But you take in it's like when you're, okay, so when you're healing them, and I mean, you literally have your hands out in an interesting position, but as you're healing them, the stuff coming out of them literally comes up and up to where you are. So it's like you physically take it in.
Like
And so part of you being isolated is because there is something behind you. Okay. So where you're kept, your temple, whatever you want to call it, it's deep, dark purple. Like the stone is deep, dark purple, like almost black, but just purple. But there is something behind you that it goes down into the core of whatever mountain, hill, whatever this is. Like you're born there, you live there, you die there. Like you don't ever leave this building. It is built into the side of this big mountain cliff thing. I mean, it's really kind of cool. But there's something in there that goes down into the core of the planet, the building, whatever. And it's like you release those things into it.
Interesting.
Like you have two different attendants that come in, but they only come in at certain times. Like, so after you release this, it's like it's so much energy that you just expended, took in, and then gave back out that you literally like collapse. Like no one's allowed to touch you either. It's really interesting. They're not allowed to touch you until you've collapsed, because there's something with your power that you're not allowed to be touched. Because once you collapse, I see this attendant coming in and basically dragging you over to a bed, pallet, whatever,
charging station,
and letting you go and leaving you there. You know what I mean? And letting you rest. You don't wake up at all. Like you just know you woke up over here. And then they have food that they set out for you. But like they come and they bring you nourishment and they bring you different things. And there's a certain area, this big long table that they set everything on. They're not allowed to look at you. They can't touch you. They don't talk to you. I mean, but it's not like they keep their heads down. So like I'm talking to you right now, it would just be like this, like they're not allowed. And it has something to do with the power that you wield. Like you're not allowed to talk to them. They're not allowed to talk to you.
That's interesting.
And part of in healing all of these beings, I keep on saying people, and as soon as I get the p out, it's like, no, is it affected your soul so deeply that because some of the beings that you heal, that you took in, because you learn everything you took in, you learn. It's like it's downloaded, and then you just give the energy, back. So you've learned through some of the travelers out there that there were other places besides where you were. Like they already had some kind of travel to different planets. So you knew there was so much else out there. And it's interesting the way they travel too, because it's almost instantaneous. So it's really kind of cool. So the only way you guys pass away is if another one is born in your place. So I would say in this one, you probably lived for hundreds of thousands of years
Wow.
in the same capacity. And then one was born to take your place. And it's like when they bring the new one in, it's funny. It's like they take you out of this chamber that you've lived your whole life, your whole existence in. But I don't see what happens to you really, because they're walking you out and you're going past, like I said, that area where you release all that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you're just gone.
It's odd.
Like I see there's two there, and you're like, there's two here and you're here, and they're walking like this, and here's the thing here, and as you get close to it, you're just not there anymore, and they just continue walking and you're just gone. So I don't know if you dissipate into that to be fed back. I don't know. But there's no death, there's no burial, there's no grief. It just
don't exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's really interesting. Do you get readings like that? Like, have you had that before? Like that type of being?
I mean, I've had light beings and things like that, and I've had a lot. This one's a little harder to explain. I've had a few that I'm like, I'm just gonna tell you what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Because I can't wrap my head around some of it. Like what's funny is I'm seeing it, I understand every bit of it. But when I'm trying to words it out my face, it's like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I don't know.
You can't connect it and make it come out to make sense.
Yeah. Because some of the things, it's like, I know what they are,
mm-hmm.
but there's not a word for it.
Well, they're not really of this world necessarily.
Exactly. And so that's why I usually have to preempt these kinds of ones with, okay, bear with me because this is going to be hard to explain. But
that's interesting. I was like,
so this one's affecting you in that there is a frequency card here, and it's 852, which would be a good one for you to listen to, or that's for pulling back some of this wisdom.
852?
852, yeah. So this one, here's the other thing that's hard to explain. This one's affecting you in that at the same time that you feel completely and utterly alone and that no one understands you, you also feel super connected. It's like literally the same thing on top of each other. And you're like, I don't know why I fucking feel this way. Like, I have people that love me. I have support. I have friends. You know what I mean? Like, I have all these people around me, but at the same time, I feel so fucking alone. It's not even funny.
Yeah, that's 100%.
So that one makes me a little dizzy. Like that one kind of fucked me up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot. That one's intense.
It really is. And what's funny is like it's the area you were in, the building, the play, whatever you want to call it. I'm not running over the dog when I scoot back. It's beautiful. I mean, it's just beautiful. Like that stone. It's like granite, but it's just this deep indigo-y purple. I mean, and in the crevices, it's black. It looks black, but there are areas of it where it's almost like it's brighter, like it glows a little. I don't know. It's so hard to explain, but it's just fabulous. Like, I just want to keep looking at it. It's so pretty.
That's awesome.
It's just one of the most.
You could take a picture in your brain and just.
Yes. It's fucking fabulous. Like, I'm even looking for something that's similar to the color. I mean, it's similar. Well, and see, this doesn't even do it justice because on that it looks blue.
Yeah.
There's not. It's like if you took amethyst, the deepest purple amethyst you could think of, and you multiplied that by 10, and then it's like you turn it into a granite somehow. Mm-hmm. You know how granite is just that really deep, because amethyst you can kind of see through a little bit. It's, God damn it, it's pissing me off. I'm like, God damn it. Yeah, like that very deep middle part. But yeah, it's just, God, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it.
That's interesting though.
So I wish I could explain it better. Oh, I was like, what do I smell burning? I forgot I had a candle going over there.
Uh-oh. With stuff like that, so like with that last one, how I collapsed after the healing and stuff. So now in this life, obviously, let me think of an example. Like when Tyler's family comes to stay, his family is very overwhelming. And I would say I'm an empath to an extent. I haven't explored it a whole lot, but I definitely pick up on things a lot, like a lot. And once they leave after absorbing all of that, I literally spend the next day in bed crying or just so mentally exhausted I can't even function. Okay. Like, do you think that's probably related to that?
It could be, yeah. But
I mean, like I can't even hardly get out of bed when they leave. And it's just certain people. It's not everybody. It's just.
Do you find you do a lot of that you take a lot of their energy? Or do you find that, because what you did there was, I mean, you literally would take all of the bad things from them, all of the negative from them into yourself.
Like, I don't know if I would necessarily would say I take it from them, but like his dad, for instance, is a narcissist unlike anything I have ever seen. Like, makes the waitresses uncomfortable, makes everybody uncomfortable, just complete narcissist. And I feel like when he leaves, that a lot of that negative is just in me. And I gotta just rest to get it out, or I don't know. But when you said that about that, I was like, that's interesting, because I literally, the last 3 times he's visited and the only time his mom's visited, I spent the day after they left just absolutely dead. Like, got Jada to school and picked her up, and that was about the extent of my day.
Okay.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, because especially if you're an empath in this life and you're trying to figure out how to heal with that, how to not give too much of yourself. Do you have a piece of prenite there? Okay. You need to get you one.
Okay.
Huh?
You said prenite?
It's kind of a green, like this one looks like a lime, like I love it, but it's actually got black tourmaline in it. So
beautiful.
Actual prenite is this beautiful green, and it's got black in it.
I bet my local shop has it.
Yeah. They should. So, but it's a healing stone. So I literally have a bracelet of it that I wear all the time. I have a big tower beside my bed just because and I know people are like, oh, that's just a stone or whatever, but I noticed a big difference. Like this one, if I'm going to an event, I'll have that bracelet on me and I'll have this in my pocket at the same time. But it helps tremendously. It helps to repair some of the damage you take in healing other people and just being around other people.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I'll have to get one.
So yeah, it'd be a good one for you. If you could find a bracelet, I think it would help tremendously. But if nothing else, even just a piece of it to carry on you, set it beside the bed, etc. Yeah, I think that would help you tremendously, especially when they're there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the sage comes out, everything. Like it's the salt, all of it. I'm like, go out, everybody. The whole thing. You're all out.
Did that last night. April's been over here helping me get everything organized and moved finally. And so after she left last night, I got everything done like online I had to. And then I cleaned the fuck out of my kitchen. And I cleaned my whole fucking house. I cleaned everything.
Yeah. And
then I staged the shit out of, and I did it counterclockwise, did everything backwards. I'm like, get the fuck out.
Out. You're not.
I love it. I love it. It feels so much better. My son came home from work and he was like, ugh, you can tell you've been saging. He was like, I know why you do it, Mom. And I know you're going to say that it's because I'm negative. He was like, but I'm really not lately. I was like, I know you've actually been getting a lot better. And he was like, it just makes me want to throw up. And I didn't want to be like, well, because you're kind of a dick, baby. You know, like
you still like kind of have it in you.
You're like your dad too much. You're kind of a dick.
That's funny. Yeah, Tyler can't stand it. He's like, I gotta go in the other room. I'm like, go Satan, get out of here.
Yeah. No shit. Not
Seriously.
today, Satan. So
I know.
that's
well,
funny.
I'm gonna have to have April watch that. She's gonna die when she hears all
Yeah. And I'm gonna be making up. I ordered some more roller balls. I'm gonna be making up some more sigil oil for like your skin. And I've noticed like over the past week and a half, I don't know if you saw any of the TikToks or whatever where I had the runes down my throat. But the ones that I put there were specifically for helping heal, helping protect, you know what I mean? Like I put runes on that I wanted to come out of my mouth to somebody else. So I've been doing that in oil, this special oil for the last week and a half. So I'll send some for you as well the next time she comes down.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work.
As I think it would do you a tremendous amount of good too. I mean, you can use it for sigilling yourself or whatever, but especially right here, especially when they come or when you're talking to other people or whatever,
Okay.
it will help tremendously.
Okay. Awesome.
So yeah. I send you the goodies.
That sounds good. Awesome.
So, and one thing I would recommend with the birds, because I didn't want to, so whenever you first started saying that, I got the name of the deity pretty clearly. And so I was like, okay. And then said deity popped up in your reading. And then other things. I'm like, okay. So I would look into Isis.
Okay. Interesting.
Especially when you talked about that large bird right in the middle of that line.
Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah, I'll have April send you those videos so you can see what I'm talking about. It was very interesting. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I would definitely man, I'm tired after that.
Shit. Some caffeine.
I would definitely you know what? I haven't had any caffeine today. I've been trying to be good and drink water. Caffeine time it is.
I was about to say, well, it looks to me like you need some caffeine if you haven't
plus dude's coming over tonight. So I got
you really need it. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Mandy. I'm so excited to know this stuff now.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So cool.